coming from Counter Logic Gaming right now, but there is a lot of lockdown and a lot of stick to you on this Dignitas team. They have a good amount of gap closers. Cutie Pie can jump. Crumbs can jump as well. We're just going to see these teams. I think it's going to be some pretty good all-out fights.
Yeah, guys, we've gotten through the champion select already, all of them blitzing through it. I can see you guys waving the sticks in the air, but make some noise for these guys. Who do you want to win this one? Chant for your favorite team. Yell at the top of your lungs. Let's get this game going on, guys.
We got 15 seconds left in the champion select. We'll have to see if this room is divided. Let's separate it out. These guys are wearing soundproof headphones, and they want to hear you. Counter Logic Gaming fans, get behind your team now. And everybody out there, that Dignitas crowd as well. Guys, they want to hear you as we jump into this game. Dignitas crowd, where are you at? Pretty even still, Freak.
Yeah, a lot of fans on both these sides, and I like that. I love having a crowd up here holding up signs, and they're just going to yell for their favorite members of the team. The game about to get started. And one thing I like, just as we get into this game right away, is that the way the picks went out is both teams, they went through their picks and bans extremely, extremely fast, which means, one with the fast bans mean they knew the big important champions, but with the fast picks mean they had their own strategy planned out from the start. We're going to see what these strategies are as we get into game one right now.
As we see the teams somewhat milling about the crowd, absolutely enjoying this. It is not do or die right now, but it is a position in that Season 2 $2 million chance. We are going to have that third, fourth place match for the team that is not able to make it out of this best of three. So like I said, not do or die, but it is a very crucial moment. They have that chance to punch their ticket right now to be going to Los Angeles to be in that Season 3 championship series. So it's going to decide this best out of three of who will take it. That first game does give momentum. It's going to put the other team on their heels, but we have seen some amazing games go all the way to the final best of three, and it has been an absolute nail-biter.
Yeah, and we'll see that's going to be the case again. We had CLG Legion go to 3, we had TSM versus Curse go to 3, and this has the makings of going, even though it's a best of 3, somehow going to 5 games, just because these guys are so evenly matched. It's going to be a crazy, crazy battle between these two. You can see the champions up on screen. You can see what these guys are going for, and CLG, following suit with their old strategies, have picked up that promote on Sona. What they've also done is gone for combat summoners everywhere else. They've got Shen for the split pushing, that's Hotshot GG, jungling there. But aside from that, everyone else is taking heal, ignite, cleanse, and they're going to go for actual battles, which is a difference from what we saw in Game 1 and 2 against Legion, where they ran 2 to 3 summoner teleports and kind of hid away from the fights. In this case, they're like, no, we're going to go for battles, bringing in ignites and cleanses, things like that. We're going for the fights, but we've still got that promote, we've still got Shen, so we can still split on you guys. And we're going to see how that pans out. CLG has, great early game strength. They've also got great late game strength. It could go really any way for them.
All right, everybody's off to that regular start. The orthodox pulls for the junglers as they start to go into their lanes. No, it does look like Ezreal has stayed back, so Cutie Pie grabbing himself a 4th potion there. Going to help him in lane, as well as Voyboy doing that for himself top. So a few people just playing that mind game, making sure they stay back for a little bit, get that potion, and come into lane with a little bit more health, as we do see a bit of a swap here in the lanes.
Yeah, right off the bat, and I'm a little bit surprised that they sent their top laner down to the bottom. I don't think Aurelia is the best in 1 versus 2s overall, so I don't know if they got mind gamed by CLG, but I've got to kind of give the edge right now to Counter Logic Gaming based on lane matchup. Vladimir doesn't like to 1 versus 2 either, really. He is getting zoned out, but I don't know. It's scary on all sides. We'll see who ends up pulling out of this. You've got Nunu Ezreal, and it's going to be very scary to be Vladimir against that for the first few levels, but as you just saw there, that transfusion, he can heal himself back up. Vladimir is never really down and out in this kind of matchup, whereas Aurelia, played by Crumbs there on Dignitas, must kind of get into melee range to deal damage, and it's going to take a lot of damage when you fight against Podmoss Sona.
See the junglers still grabbing up here. Voyboy forced to push back. We can see how much damage Aurelia took down bottom previously. Now healed herself back up. Crumbs just taking auto attacks from Sona all the time. This leaves Doublelift rather to just continue farming up, continuing to get gold. Crumbs is really only trying to stay within experience range right now.
Yeah, I mean, both these really, these solo laners are really zoned right now. It's kind of the story of a 1 versus 2, is you don't get to make a lot of choices. You've got to kind of hide in the background because you're outnumbered. You're all level 1 champions. It's kind of a scary place to be in when you're outnumbered in a lane. And so they're going to wait around and just try to gain experience. Once they get enough levels, they have some health, some regeneration, better cooldowns, they can start being a little bit more active. Now, thankfully right now for Crumbs, and actually for Voyboy as well, these lanes are finally pushing out into the turret. So all that experience they were denied is finally going to come flooding back in as this turret assists them in taking down these minions for experience and levels.
Very nice job trying to get damage onto that turret to give themselves better positioning. Even 10 more minutes into the game, they'll be able to focus that turret if they need to while losing a dragon. So they're really setting themselves up all over right now. Only 4 minutes into the match. Great attacks here as that Bio Arcane Barrage giving more attack range to double if that is, and he's just able to keep poking Crumbs out. Crumbs is having to deal with this the entire time, and he's just under his turret.
Yeah, Aurelia is one of the better turret last hitters, though. You've got basic attack, C10 style, and Blade Surge to do good things here. Actually, interestingly, the top lane actually for Dignitas, they are pushing on this turret very, very hard. It's down to half health so far. If you compare that to the other side for CLG, it's not really hurt much at all. So Dignitas right now are actually setting the pace for an early game push, which surprises me a little bit. We said that CLG should go for some early pressure, try to push down on Skara, and otherwise would push for a late game. But no, Dignitas right here are really going for some early game aggression, picking down an early turret, and trying to really screw with Voyboy's early game.
Very odd that we really haven't seen too much aggression from the junglers here. They're kind of staying within their own boundaries. They haven't really come out into lane too much. Usually by that 4 minute, the first clear. And here we go, actually, Hotshot getting caught as he tries to go around behind Tribush. A very nice ward there. Actually, it was just kind of read by Dignitas. Very nice job.
Yeah, and so you're seeing them as they push the jungler out and deal some damage, forcing him back. They are still pushing at this top lane, trying to kill off this turret. PewDiePie will take one attack from that turret, lowering his health a bit, but overall he'll just keep taking that blood boil, dealing as much damage as possible, and just try to push that turret down so exceptionally quickly. He's still massing that Essence Flux first, just in case he does end up getting into some combat with enemy attack damage champions. Otherwise, he could have maxed Mystic Shot maybe to push down minions sooner, but it's not going to be the case here. He's going to rely on that attack speed debuff for the mid game, but they're just pushing, trying to take this turret down. If they pick something like Graves, it'd be dead by now, but even still, Ezreal, no slaps, doing a lot of damage, and Counterlogic Gaming are going to react to this. They've actually switched their lane up finally, and Shoutstar Double Lift, with a very low health turret, are going to start defending that structure and keep them from losing it.
Your CLG playing very careful. As we said, they want to try to get to late game. A little aggression from Skara here, using the ultimate on Big Fat. One punches him out there. Drunken Rage is going to give him some of that mana back, help him sustain in lane. He does have enough HP to stay there and continue to farm. Looks like Skara will, actually Big Fat rather, will be backing off of that to get himself a Chalice right off the bat, some wards, and 3 potions.
Yeah, so Big Fat already saying, hey, I'm going to sustain in this lane very, very well. Thank you very much. The extra magic resist from the Chalice, as well as the mana regeneration, really going to help him just sit in there, farm minions with his abilities, because they're going to cost a lot of mana. He wants the regeneration so he can keep farming, and just wants to survive all the harass attempts. And Dignitas, they really did want to put themselves in that 1v2 situation. They've swapped as well as a reaction to CLG. Crumbs up in that top lane, again 1v2 as Aurelia, has 24 minions as a result, so that's not too bad. But on the same side, Voyboy is at 30. So the lane swap is working out better for Counterlogic Gaming solo, but they're trying to get the turret pressure, and if that's their goal, then what they're choosing here is actually working out. They've got that first turret very low. We'll see what they do with the bottom lane.
Only 7 minutes into the game, and nothing that I thought we would have seen. Both teams kind of playing that regular gameplay. Nobody's trying for anything dangerous. They're leaving nothing to chance in these matchups, even though they will and possibly have another chance going for that red buff dominate. Now leaving the jungle with Turtle on. Not really going to take any damage from the Vorpal Blade, but with that vision of the junglers, everybody's going to be very careful knowing at which part of the jungle they are now.
Yeah, ward coverage is a very important thing in this game overall. If you know where the jungler is, you know he's not coming in behind you, and so you can safely play aggressive. You're seeing this right here from Dignitas. The True Shot Barrage coming out, pushing down on minions. They're right at the mouth of this turret. They're trying to deal as much damage to structures as possible. This is made possible because they know Hotshot is not currently right behind them at this second. If he were, it'd be a scary place for them. But again, they have that knowledge. And listening to the team chat throughout this tournament, whenever I'm backstage, I hear them call out jungler positions all the time. They spot, Udyr in mid lane, Udyr's mid, you're safe top. It's the kind of calls they're making constantly throughout this tournament, just giving themselves that little bit of information to make sure they're not getting shut down.
Now, Freak, as the teams kind of just roll out the laning phase here, try to get their CS down. Good poke from Double Lift onto Cutie Pie there. What do we see for scaling into late game from these teams?
Well, you've got an amazing late game situation when you've got a Kog'Maw and a Vladimir together. They scale almost boundlessly. They deal so much damage. They really have, I think, the highest potentials of their respective roles. Vladimir as a mage, Kog'Maw there as an attack damage carry. You've got a lot of range and safety as well. But on the other side, you've got a potentially blood-boiled Ezreal because you've got Nunu on your side. So at least between the attack damage carries, you've got a pretty equal situation. Actually, Cutie Pie taking a lot of damage in the bottom lane. Crescendo just misses from Chowster. Very close situation there. Dignitas will get away from that aggression. But so as far as attack damage carries are considered, it's a little bit equal just because Patoy on Nunu grants a lot of damage output. In the mid lane, you've got Skara and Big Fat LP on Gragas and Anivia respectively. They're interesting because they both deal a lot of damage and bring out a lot of utility. So it's just going to be it's going to depend on how the fight develops. Because, you know, a knockback or a wall, they have different sets of utility there. They can both farm minion waves. They can both do a lot of area of effect damage. There's no guarantee who's stronger there either. What you're going to look at is that top lane. Well, what I would say top lane, but it's Voyboy on Vladimir and it's Crumbs on Aurelia. And Vladimir is better there. Just deals more damage. You're going to have the combination with Sonus Crescendo for the area of effect stun. Vladimir does a lot of area of effect damage overall. That's the better lane. You're seeing Crumbs into a fight right there. And the mid lane as well. Big Fat's going to get his ultimate canceled. Scar's going to keep jumping in. A lot of pain there, but he will back off from that turret. A bit of harass. The barrel will miss. Big Fat LP not yet egged. We're going to see them back off from each other as Shen goes to the bottom lane.
Yeah, that egg being able to deter so much. If it's under the turret, you know, Big Fat knows if I can just crest this corner, I'm going to get under my turret and he's not going to be able to take me down. We see Dominate being very aggressive right now, and it looks like he wants to jump in there. Dominate does have flash, and they find Hotshot here. Bear stands down. He is going to taunt away, which will kind of draw Dominate with him there as he was on top of him. But they are not going to be able to get that catch as they see Anivia has left lane. Big Fat still has blue buff, and that could have meant trouble without Dignitas having enough vision.
Yeah, you never want to deal with an Anivia from the Fog of War. You're not going to see the Flash Frost come out in time, which is going to allow her to stun you with that ability. She can put up that crystallized wall, and suddenly you've got no escape either. Now, this stage, they do have their flashes available, so Dignitas can't escape from sticky situations. As he goes in, actually, a lot of damage being dealt here. There is that wall. Dominates in a scary place. Can he push down Big Fat? It's going to be close. He's dancing back and forth. So much damage! First blood does go over to Big Fat LP. The crystallized was awesome. The Ignite dealing just enough damage. 400 gold. Thank you very much. CLG with an early game lead.
And Big Fat is going to pick himself up a red buff off of that. Oh, almost getting egged right there. Will the barrel hit the last one? The body slam, but he's still in turret range, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Skara will not be able to do anything with that rebirth.
Yeah, he's got the cooldown there. Anivia, when you try to kill her, she's got a passive with 5-6 minute cooldown. The first time you kill her, she turns into an egg and then rebirths and jumps back in, actually onto Skara. The wall will not stop the body slam. Skara will be safe right now, but Big Fat still wanting to play the aggressor. He came back with full health and with the golem buff, pretty much full mana as well.
I think Big Fat was itching to get that wall out a little too much, and he pushed himself forward. He could have laid down the ulti and then hit his E, and he really would have had the damage and the slow on the body slam to have caught him with the wall. So a little bit of a misclick there, but you know what? He just got himself first blood. I do not think he's worried about that miss.
Yeah, and in the same vein, though, this bottom lane, it's looking pretty good overall for Counter Logic Gaming. You look at the minion kills, and it's 103 versus 90. Doublelift is constantly pressuring Cutie Pie, dealing so much damage to him. He's taking a bit of turret flak back, but other than that, he's doing exceptionally. But here's some aggression at the top lane. So much damage being dealt to Voyboy, but the Shen ult is going to come out. He's going to survive. Crumbs must flash over the wall, and Hotshot will lay the chase down, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Will he taunt over the wall to try to jump onto Crumbs? Yes, he will! Crumbs taking some damage here, trying to escape. He will land that stun. He's going to walk backwards. Hotshot will not chase that down. Crumbs will be safe here.
Very nice try. Voyboy was still a little too low there, but Hotshot, yes, as you said, just kind of trying to deny that health, continuously push Aurelia out of lane, but she is going to be able to get that health back with her auto attacks. And you can see Crumbs going right back in, as actually the wards in that area above Baron die out. So nobody has vision there. Crumbs in a pretty dangerous position. However, he knows Hotshot's probably not going to be in that lane just yet, since he was just there.
Yeah, so it's going to be safety once more. That vision allowing them to know what's going on here, making sure they don't get picked out. You see mid lane going back to farm right now. Big Fat's golden buff finally has timed out that Anivia, otherwise would clear waves ceaselessly. He had the Childs and the Catalyst, so his mana regen still going to be very, very awesome. You check back on this bottom lane, Cutie Pie still behind Doublelift in gold, and that's a very important measure there, because a Kog'Maw, again, will scale throughout that game. That's a very scary situation to be in. You do not want a Fed double lift, much less a Fed double lift on Pogba.
CLG has actually done something they really didn't formulate in their past few matches during this week, as they were the first ones to get the kill. Boy being aggressed on very hard. Blade Surge not up for Aurelia, but we see the Dragon being contested, and Dignitas will grab it. It was just really a poke from Hotshot trying to get in there. Skara doing a great job of walling that situation off. This game acting very slow, but first Dragon there, the objective control going to Dignitas at 14 minutes. Yeah,
a great Dragon pickup overall. Right after the recall from CLG, they took control of that bottom lane. And it's something that actually, so thankfully for me, Legion and Team Solamid are actually at my, they're at the same hotel as me. And so I talked to them last night, and Reginald was talking to Prawley and saying, you know, I don't mean to hate or anything, but you're not playing Gragas right. Gragas' ultimate has an extremely low cooldown. Just use it for the utility and don't worry about the cooldown being not being ready, because it's so short. And you saw right there, he pushed back Shen. He was so afraid of the smite steal, he just pushed the explosive cask onto him, knocked Hotshot back, and said, no, you are not smite stealing this. And it worked out great. And the cooldown is almost back up. What is that? Yeah, it's like 3/4 back up right now. Not a big problem at all.
Yeah, right now, really only on that, he's got about 57 seconds, so he can just throw that out. Like you said, that 1 minute. If you know the situation going on, you're not going to be using that for the next minute, or the teams aren't going to be fighting. Like you said, use it as utility. Save somebody, help them out, or get yourself that one-on-one kill. Gragas, although he's a big dude, he is an assassin of League of Legends.
Yeah, if he goes for the build where he goes for the Abyssal Scepter into that Deathfire Grasp, and looking at his items, that's the current thought, is he's going to be stacking a lot of magic penetration so that he's going to do full damage with all of his abilities, and then by adding in a Deathfire Grasp, he's going to deal so much more burst to a single target. If he can get in range to land his combo, and of course, you know, Body Slam and Barrel Roll can miss, but if he can land that combo, he's going to try for one here against Big Fat. He can do just so very much damage. You see Big Fat trying to break him down, but the one good thing on Skara's side is he's maxing out, actually, let me check before I make that for certain, but he is, yeah, maxing out the Drunken Rage second, giving him a lot of damage reduction and letting him tank those encounters.
You know, Freak, I want to point something out here, that what happens during these lane swaps, if you look at CLG's top turret and Dignitas' bottom turret, they both have the same amount of health. It's as they push the AD carries into that position and then said, all right, let's swap back. Whenever somebody takes Dragon, we also have a turret we can take for either side. So vice versa, they've left themselves with 150 global gold at any time that they want. That's awesome for both teams.
Now, on the recall being canceled there, a nice little ultimate coming out from QtPie, making sure that Doublelift can't get back to base on time. And because of that, no, Doublelift is going to just fully recall back. There's a chance here that Dignitas can just completely shove in and go for the turret kill. There's not a lot of health remaining. But as a result, CLG knows this. Look at this. Hotshots come back down to the bottom lane to watch out for that aggression. Will not quite pick up the ward kill as Patoy puts one down. But while Dignitas tries to push the bottom lane, Hotshot is there to say, no, you can't push this down just yet.
Oh, wow, so aggressive right now. They're formulating a four-man gank down on bottom. Here they come out of the bush. The explosive cast comes out. The lockdown, the crescendo goes out. Skara and the rest will focus down on Chouster, and it looks like Skara will make it out alive. Dominate wants to stay in the fray. That Udyr, very tanky. He has a lot of utility to himself, but it does not look like it's going to be enough to keep him alive, and they trade a quick 1-for-1. Very nice job there as they get out of that situation. Moving back up, Patoy blood boiling Skara so he can get to safety as well. And everybody backs off in this situation. Big Fat LP loving the double buff all game long.
Yeah, great reaction there by CLG, because that was a great situation. A 4-on-2. They landed so much burst on a Chouster. Chouster with a great crescendo as well on Sona, locking up for long enough that Shen could show up and just everyone else could just make the fight happen in their favor. And they tried that tower dive on a Shen at the end there on Hotshot, but he was tanky just long enough to make that not really a scary situation at all. Great counteraction, I should say, there by CLG. Keep everything really safe there.
Really no gold lead in the global gold here between any team as we look who may have the most. We have 5,000 on Skara right now, but we have 5,900 on Big Fat LP. That first blood really throwing him into the lead at 2-0 as well.
Yeah, overall, having 2 kills on a farmed mid lane champion, he's got the most minion kills, he's got the most champion kills. Big Fat LP right now, we said it before the game, it was going to be Doublelift, and he's playing a great game overall. And again, Cosmo's always going to be scary by this end game. Big Fat LP really turned it on for this match, and they're going to look for him to really lead a lot of these fights. If he plays it well, he's going to land stuns out of nowhere. Those crystallized walls are going to be game-changing. I mean, right now, CLG doesn't really want to change the game. They're kind of winning overall. They seem to be just putting on better pressure. They're winning in kills, winning in turrets overall. But you know, it's if they ever get in a scary situation, those walls from Anivia are going to be what separates them and keeps them in the game.
Freak building that Rod of Ages with the Chalice, having so much regeneration with the Abyssal Scepter and the Deathfire. If Big Fat LP and Scarra were to meet, whose build right now is going to scale harder for them? If they were to hit 20 minutes and do this, who's going to be able to win that fight?
Well, the interesting thing is they're really not going to 1v1 very much, just because I don't think Big Fat's ever going to get himself caught out. And, you know, even if Scarra goes for that early burst and manages to egg him, he's going to have to wait for cooldowns again, and by that time his team would have collapsed. Hotshot's ultimate is almost back up there on Shen. I can't see a one-on-one going either way, because both can really just escape those situations very easily. Instead, what we're going to look at is how much utility and damage they can provide to the team overall right now. Both these great area effect damage. You can see a trade going on right here. You can get Big Fat down to half health. Scarra's going to do some nice damage, and then you're going to see him walk right back out. Both of them taking some damage, and they're going to be very, very safe. Again, neither one able to really kill the other. Dragon with a lot of magic resistance to the Abyssal Scepter, just going to make him too tanky to really drop. So what you're going to see instead is who gets the better crowd control down, who gets the better sort of fight geography happening, because you've got walls from Anivia, you've got knockbacks here from Gragas. Those are going to be what separates these two champions.
They believe they have vision. They said Big Fat is going for his blue buff. We somewhat have the time on that. Let's focus our eyes on Dragon. They are going to be able to grab this one up. A bit more gold coming out for Dignitas here. I don't believe they even needed to get the smite on that, so Dominate can still go around and possibly counter the jungle here, and it looks like he may do just that. He doesn't have the spawns of CLG yet. CLG has actually quite a bit of wards here, Freak. They're doing a great job at keeping their jungle safe.
Yeah, neither team has really succumbed to jungle ganks in any major way. That they've actually been, all of them have been very, very good at staying alive to those situations. All the kills are really coming from these sort of chance encounters or botched invades, or you know, that amazing sort of 4-on-4 fight in the bottom lane that junglers have actually just been more or less just farming the entire way through. And when you look at that, well, who's farming better in the jungle? Well, you've got 120 mini kills on Udyr and only 83 on Hotshot's Shen. And that's what happens, is Shen is not really as fast of a jungle clearer as Udyr. And so when you get in these situations where you've got a clear speed disparity such as this, you say, let's slow the game down. You know, we think all of our lanes can farm equally. Let's just have Udyr get beefier and tankier and more deadly than this Shen, and that's like how Dignitas is playing this early game. It's why they're actually up in gold significantly, even though they're down in kills. They're only up, you know, one turret, one dragon. That's not enough to have such a, or actually two dragons, but that's still not as much as this, you know, 3,500 gold lead. That's coming from the extra monster killing.
You know, Freak, it's going to be a big factor there. Those dragons, those objectives. Over the 3 games that CLG played against Legion, Legion was able to take 7 out of the 10 dragons that went down. So 3 going to CLG. But you see that CLG still won that match. So right now, even if they're not very objective focused, they can still pull this one through with their gameplay.
Yeah, again, neither of these teams can ever be counted out, and it's kind of going to be the rehash point over and over, but there's so much fight geography that can change because of these lineups. You know, if a bad initiate happens from Counter Logic Gaming, you've got Absolute Zero, you've got Explosive Cask, you've got amazing area effect damage with, you know, both Gragas and Ezreal and Nunu. Both 3 champions. That's good, Freak. Nice job there. But, you know, overall, they can just separate battles and make them really, really difficult for CLG to fight. But the same way, CLG, they've got that crystallized. They've got Kog'Maw, who can fight from so far back that he's untouchable. They've got Vladimir, who can amplify everyone else's damage, can pool under and stop taking damage overall. Sona with that crescendo, the area of effect stun. Shen with the area of effect taunt. A bad engage on either side, no matter the gold difference, can go either way, because you can just suddenly burst one person down, because you can lock up an entire team, and because you can separate a 5-on-5 into a 2-on-5, and anyone can win a 2-on-5.
You know, Freak, just check out what Crumbs is doing. Huge plays coming from him all weekend, like we said, on Rumble, on Jax. Right now, he's 170, 180 farm to 142 of Void Boy, dominating his lane, thinking he would go for a Wit's End right away, but he feels safe. He just went for the Triforce, got some Merc Treads, and now going to the Wit's End. He really wasn't being affected by the AP too much. Possibly had that page set up for the Vladimir AP top.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, well, the other thing though with him is he also was kind of expecting a 1v2. They kept lane swapping as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, those 1v2s were scary on both sides, but eventually it swapped back, and Crumbs was 1v1 against Voivoy, and Crumbs was coming out ahead in those fights every single time. They were going head-to-head, and Crumbs kept winning those engagements, and that put him ahead there. CLG, a great job there, that long range on Kog'Maw, picking up their second turret of the match, bringing that gold closer again, and right now, you know, that key, Dignitas needs a better late game. They're putting themselves in that situation. They need to be a bit afraid of Vladimir. I think Vladimir will eventually outscale Aurelia, but up until that point, they're still building a gold lead.
Yeah, this may not be the game where they're pulling out all the stops, but are making sure they're grabbing the objectives. They're trying to get themselves the late game. Dominate has a very nice build right now, quite tanky, and with his own shield to give himself, Udyr can be a huge disruption in a fight, especially in bear stance. If he hits new people every time in that bear stance, you will continue to stun them. It's not just one stun and done. Skara coming back after getting the blue. Looks like they may formulate here in mid and try to take this mid turret. As Jat said before, that's one of the main turrets to take down, and it leads to the biggest openings in the jungle.
Yep, and here we go, Dignitas, at least 3 strong moving in. There's that crystallized, stops Crumbs from moving in. Skara must dash back away from that one. And the difficult thing here, and this is actually to Counterlogic's credit right now, is they can pull this game into late game very easily because they've got Anivia on that lineup. In addition to all those walls and everything else she does during a team fight, Anivia is one of the best in the game at stopping pushes. You see the Glacial Storm down, there comes Flash Frost, and look, the entire minion wave is gone. PewDiePie tried to attack the turret the entire time, got about 3 attacks in, had to back off because the minions were dead.
This team is very good at holding it down. We've seen what Froggen is able to do on that Anivia and turn games completely around, even if they're knocking at your front door with axes. They were able to come back from that game, and that's what Anivia is, as you said, good at doing, just clearing waves, but also stopping that initiation, being able to wall off an entire team. We'll have to see how Skara can counteract that by displacing somebody. If he can hit his barrel correctly, he may even be able to pop one of the CLG members back over the wall, and then it could cause some trouble.
Yeah, and it looks like, speaking of Skara, he's going for something a bit different than what I had predicted there. He got the early Cage's lucky pick to see if he was going to go for a Deathfire Grasp, but now it looks like he wants, instead, a Rabbidan's Death Cap. So he's not going to play the role of the Assassin, he's going to play the role of Area of Effect Burst Nuker. He's going to stack ability power to make all of his abilities stronger. Instead of a Deathfire Grasp with that single target nuke, he's going to make all of his abilities, and all of his abilities deal Area of Effect damage. All of them will hit pretty much everyone on that CLG lineup. So he wants to empower that facet of his champion and nuke everyone down all at once and turn fights around in an instant by just bursting everyone's face off.
Now, Freak, with having so much AP on one team, that ability power for CLG, would that, in a sense, just make it easier for Dignitas to mitigate how they're going to build defense?
It will a little bit, right? By stacking Magic Resist, you can, really mitigate a lot of the damage output there. But the difficulty also is that it's not easy to get Magic Resist when you're a carry. If PewDiePie stops, building attack damage and switches over for a Banshee spell or for a Silver Sash, he's going to be less threatening. He needs to instead rely more on positioning to block out damage, and there's not an easy segue for him to say, oh no, I'll just go get defense, because he needs to get into this arms race against Doublelift, and a great job there, Dignitas completely controlling that dragon, and that's their third of the game right here. Crumbs actually just diving into a turret, and because they've still found Counterlogic Gaming out of position, they're ready to push again for this turret. Dignitas are being really, really amazing at controlling the pace of this map. CLG, just because of that early gold lead, CLG is still afraid of fighting them. Dignitas really, really putting themselves in a lead here.
Dignitas very strong right now. However, if they can get Doublelift in the right position, as we said, one of the most mechanically sound players in the game, with very good positioning, able to get himself out of fights and back into it to do more damage. He does have that seal, the critical cloak coming out, and the Infinity Edge on Kog'Maw will shred right through your team. No matter your armor, no matter what, he's always going to be doing a percentage damage of your HP. So he is always somebody to be reckoned with. The poke on this team is also quite good, as he can stay on the outside as Anivia and Kog'Maw just continue to throw in their cooldowns.
Yeah, you're going to see just so much damage everywhere. There's a lot of long-range ability here from CLG, and so when they finally feel comfortable to fight, they can really make things difficult. You saw them stop that mid-push for a long time. mostly Anivia there. You saw them get the mid push happening there, thanks to Kog'Maw and his long-range Bio-Arcane Barrage. So CLG, I was a little bit surprised to see them not want to initiate that fight at Dragon. They just were not quite confident there. Wanted to give Hotshot some farm at top a little bit longer. And this is one of the things that CLG really does, and they've always really done this with Hotshot, and they've done it with St. Vicious as well, is that jungler transforms into a late game carry. That jungler, in this case it's Shen, kind of tends to run up to one of those solo lanes and start farming and pushing minions down. CLG loves that split push strategy, and they love having that jungler catch up in minion kills and making him a force to be reckoned with. Now the difficulty here, of course, is that there's only 3 lanes for minions to spawn, and CLG are trying to build themselves 4 major carries. Voidboy and Vladimir, Hotshot on Shen, Double Lift on Kog'Maw, and Big Fat LP on Anivia. So we're going to see who ends up sacrificing their own minion kills in order to give Hotshot some of them.
You know, Freak, the CS in favor, and that gold lead to Dignitas right now. 3 members cresting 250 minions right now. That other 200 minion was going to Kog'Maw and Anivia, Double Lift and Big Fat, but Voidboy only has 170. He is right now about 50 minions behind of that Crumbs.
And you can see right there, the Baron attempt started. They had swept out all of the ward vision overall, but CLG was wise to it. And Shen popped his ultimate there, teleporting in to make sure they had a full 5-on-5 engagement. This is one thing about CLG, by the way, is that there is such great engage here from Dignitas, with Udyr, with Gragas, and with Aurelia, that if Hotshot shows up late, they've already lost the fight. If they fight a 5-on-4 for even 3 seconds, there's a big advantage there for Dignitas. So what Counter Logic needs to do, what Hotshot needs to do, is actually arrive early. He needs to pop his ultimate, he needs to pop that Stand United and get into the fray, because he's their major initiator. You know, Counter Logic Gaming cannot start a fight without him, and they can't react to a fight without him. And so the interesting thing for Dignitas is they can bait that out, right? They started Baron, Hotshot had to teleport in early, and Dignitas walked out with Australia's Reverie. Now Counter Logic Gaming does not have Stand United. They cannot send Shen to a solo lane and farm and split push because he has no way of returning. And so Dignitas can keep doing this dance where they bait a fight. They say, you have to come fight us or you lose Baron. Haha, blew your ultimate, and walk away safely. And use smaller cooldowns to do this. And as a result, come out ahead. This is one great advantage for Dignitas. You can see them walking back towards Baron right now. Again, they want to bait this position out, and this time Shen cannot show up out of nowhere, so he must camp with the rest of his team.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to split push on this. CLG likely to be able to keep one person off in the distance. They missed the flash cross there. Looks like they are going to try to go in for something. Just kind of holding back. Chowster on the wing. Hotshot placing a ward over. The Oracle's, I believe, still up. No, yes, Dominate does have the Oracle, so if they can get around, clear those out. Crumbs grabbing himself the Guardian Angel. That's going to be very big. Aurelia wants to get into that fight. She will want to take all the cooldowns. That will leave Udyr and Skara. I will Dominate. These guys are going to get in there. They want to be in that melee range. Skara wants to body slam. Dominate wants to disrupt the fight with Bear form and continuously run around in that Phoenix form to just do the area of effect damage. So these guys are ready to initiate if they can get into this fight right now. That Guardian Angel is going to play huge dividends in this next fight for them.
Yeah, it was a great job by Dignitas overall. They bought enough time for that with the Aurelia to pick up that Guardian Angel. It's going to be a big deal here. Crumbs going to try to dive in. He's going to catch up with Hotshot, but a beautiful Crystallize is going to stop the engagement here. Dignitas kind of separated a bit, but of course so is Counter Logic Gaming. Double Lift so afraid on the left-hand side. If he goes up by himself, he could get caught out. Dignitas going to just re-engage here. Now what will CLG do? Hotshot's going to dash away. Now he's separated from his team. Big Fat almost out of position. He has Crystallize up again. He could separate this fight once more, and Dignitas needs to be aware of that scary situation here. Aurelia jumping up to the top, wants to shove that lane back down. Crumbs wants to make it difficult for CLG to defend everything, and Dignitas are going to be constantly sweeping wards out. They've got the Oracle's Elixir. They're going to keep blinding CLG. CLG can no longer see into that Baron pit anymore. The only way they get vision is if Double Lift can land his ultimate to reveal the target. They drop another ward off the wall, but these wards cost 75 gold, and when you kill one, you get 25 gold back for yourself. So Dignitas, just by kind of sitting here, are actually burning basically 100 gold down every time they do this. You can see the gold lead separating now, 5,500 gold. Dignitas, they really just want to stay in this situation. They've actually now forced a lot of CLG back toward the back of their base, and they could just re-engage here.
Freak, as you said before, these matches, some of the most important in their lives, and for one of these teams right now, the most important. Yes, one of these teams will get a chance again at the third, fourth place match, but that's only one of these teams that are going to make it into that. So right now, CLG doing what they can to control this game. Dignitas trying to bring it back into their favors. It seems like they have somewhat of that gold lead, but we've seen CLG come back very strong from this position. This has to be the most cautious game played by these teams. They have to be feeling the nerves. We've only had 3 kills in 30 minutes.
And they spot award once more. Dignitas, again, denying 100 gold as a result of that, and they're going to push in on Baron. They are going to start that out right now. PewDiePie has all the damage. See if CLG reacts in time. They do not have vision here, but they are starting to move over a little bit. The Ezra ult comes out. They find Voyboy. The slow comes off. Big Fat's been stunned. They're going to jump in on him, and they're going to keep chasing down. He's been egged. A lot of damage there, but Toy will just tank that up. He's happy to die first. They picked off Big Fat. It's now a 4-on-4. Hawkins taking a damage. Great crescendo overall. Voyboy escapes down. Dominate almost falls, but a double kill now for this Kog'Maw as the fight comes on. Double's going to fall from, still chasing on. Has the Guardian Angel, picks up a kill and survives. Hotshot, one hit from Ted. The barrel will land. Star picks that kill up. It's 4 kills for 2. And now Dignitas are going to turn themselves back around from so low on health. Can they 3-man Baron?
Patoy doing an amazing job there. He kept the entire team on him. We saw 4 members taking down Big Fat in rebirth form for them to turn around with almost full health and mana and just clear through the other team. Now going for a Baron, and with that 4-2 trade, we're going to see them possibly pick this up. They're definitely going to have to micro the damage in and out. Skara trying to stay sustained here, and a very nice dash in there. The final bit of damage. Purple team grabs Baron Nashor. Let's check out a replay of that last fight.
Right, if you start up, you can see they catch up with that Anivia and they just go for the damage. Patoy just locks everyone up. Double gets 1 kill for it, but that's fine. They got a more important kill out of it. A beautiful crescendo means that he can still deal so much damage. A double kill comes out, but it's just not enough though. He gets caught out. Ezreal jumping over the wall, and that's a trademark PewDiePie move. He plays so incredibly aggressively, dies for kills constantly. You can see he flashes for the Mystic shot, but it was Scar that landed that last hit there. Dignitas makes it a 4 for 3. And despite having that catch on Anivia, you saw how good CLG was at delaying that fight out, how deadly Doublelift was. Despite that really bad start, they made it 4 for 3, not too bad at all.
Yeah, that's a really hard fight, especially in that position. The bush right there, crest around. If you're in the bush, you're still not going to see all the way through it, and nobody has wards on that spot. So that fight really, as Dignitas was out in the open, they saw the crescendo come out. I'm a PewDiePie was just outside crescendo range and was able to just tick down as well with Skara, who didn't get hit by it either.
Oh my gosh, did you see that burst from Skara? One shot Chouster out of nowhere. He was the Oracle's bearer. Doublelift not going to like his fate much either. He's going to go down, and Dignitas have just collapsed on this bottom turret. The Kog'Maw passive hits 4, but not too big of a deal. Dignitas with the Baron buff and a 5-on-3 are going to keep backdooring turrets right now.
And they are going to be able to get this first, that rather third-tier turret, that inhibitor turret on the bottom lane. In these outside lanes, as we've spoken before, the middle lane very dominant to be able to take down. But if you are able to take out a bottom or top lane, you have a more direct line at 1 Nexus turret. That's a lot easier to take out when you're not being shot at 2. So Dignitas with very good strength there, and this is where it comes into play. They can start messing with the objective so much more as the super minions breach that bottom inhibitor.
Yeah, Big Fat dealing a lot of damage. Scar is zoned out of it. He knows he can't dive quite in there in front of Voyboy and Big Fat LP, but Dignitas still so tanky. They know it's still a 5-on-4. Doublelift is still dead. They're happy to keep pushing down turrets. Hotshot making the right move here. Yeah, you know, they've killed 3 turrets overall. CLG has lost an inhibitor as well, but Hotshot gets 2 turrets for himself. A great play there, keeping the game rather close here. 4 to 6 turrets, 4 to 7. Oh, burst again. They've stopped Hotshot from escaping. He's going to try to run to that base.
Yeah, he's getting away right now. He has almost been tagged. Is he going to make it? No, they're going to get the damage down. Hotshot just biding his time, but unfortunately, his team cannot do anything as Dignitas is in their base, just happily ready to leave that again and start another charge on. They have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left on this Baron. We're going to have to see how they utilize that still. We still have 3 minutes for Baron to come up after that wears off. Dignitas surely has the timer on that as they took it out with 3. And I don't think CLG had vision on that. They will have somewhat of the time, somewhat of the movement of Dignitas to really know that they're going up there and plan the fight. But if they don't have vision like last time, they may just go ahead and lose that one and lose another Baron.
Yeah, I think they're going to know the timing overall intuitively by knowing when it was taken out. In general, game sense, and by watching the Baron buff dissipate. Dignitas wants to not even have that situation happen, though. They're going to keep the pressure on and just try to pick down more damage. Actually, a lot of great pressure here. Crumbs getting just bursted down right there. Popping Guardian Angel. Now, can he escape? The crescendo goes off. A nice knockback. PewDiePie picks up Chaucer so fast. And in fact, Crumbs makes it out, but Big Fat going to take the Shen ult, taking a lot of damage as well. They've jumped in. Can they pick up the kill? Absolute Zero eggs him. They're going to keep going for more pain. Big Fat LP will get dropped, but Hotshot picks one back in return. Crumbs taking a lot of turret damage. What's going to happen for the rest of this fight? Oh,
Hotshot just spawning back in after he died in their base. The Randuin's goes off, but it's just outside bear form. It looks like he gets the lockdown. Phoenix to come out, and the AoE all Crumbs coming in. The beautiful chaos as he comes up, but they're more than happy to give it to him as he is so farmed right now. They need Aurelia in that fight for the melee damage, that gap closer to slow and shut down the team, and that's beautiful for Kog'Maw because double lift on Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw himself is a very easy to gank champion. Once he throws that Void Ooze out, all he has is his walk away or flash. He's really easy to gank. The Ezreal, on the other hand, he can arcane shift away, plus that flash. He also has cleanse. So 80 carries for the 80 carry for Dignitas, definitely in a better position to put himself in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, and that's just kind of trademark PewDiePie in general. He does just jump in there. Now, that's the one thing that Chronologic Gaming can rely on, though, is they know he's a very, very aggressive player and he can get caught out.
We'll get a quick replay of that fight that just happened here on the screen.
As it go in the middle lane, you can see Anivia trying to block everything down, stopping everything as much as he can. But watch this initiation. The wall comes off. They burst down onto Crumbs. He takes so much damage, but they've burned a lot of cooldowns. Chris Blinds is down. Vladimir ult is down. And there's the knockback. Look at the burst coming back down. They pick up Chaucer right away, and they can kind of go into cleanup mode. There's the aggression in from Ezreal. And, of course, they know they've got the number advantage now, so they can just jump in there and do so much damage. But it's Hotshot making the move, running back in there, and picking up the kill on a PewDiePie to trade 1-for-1. He's going to try to escape there. He will get picked off, but by him baiting the rest of the team out, he buys enough time that they will not lose the turret or inhibitor.
That was a very nice job. Chaucer also kind of used Crescendo a little too early. Aurelia had not popped back up, but did force the flash on Crumbs. So that helps somewhat, as you said, the 1-for-1 trade, but losing Hotshot just after. So Dignitas will have a little bit of a power play push here. They're coming back in. Hotshot finally back onto the map once again after coming off of 2 fast kills that has denied him a little bit of experience. The levels are quite the same. We do have a level 18 on Skara, Crumbs, and Double Lift, as well as Big Fat. So 4 level 18s in the game, as we're definitely cresting that mid and now into late game. Dignitas seems to be controlling the map and deciding where this game is going.
Yeah, and you're just going to see, the big factors here. Let's look at the big carries on each side. You've got very few deaths on Dignitas overall. The top laner and mid lane still yet to die. And I don't know which one's going to be the bigger factor in the fight. You've got great initiations from Aurelia. She's going to be kind of the main initiator, I think, because she can actually dash in. But at the same time, once someone's been locked up by Aurelia, it's going to be the follow-through by Skara and PewDiePie. So it's those three are really the main factors here for Dignitas. You've got Crumbs to start it off, Skara to follow up, and PewDiePie to really finish the deal. All three need to really work well here to make the fights happen there. For Counterlogic Gaming, nobody doesn't need an excellent game. Hotshot, he's going to play his role well as an initiator no matter what. Chaucer the same way. It's going to be really on Double Lift and Big Fat LP. That Kog'Maw needs to be the big damage threat. You just need that one good wall to separate this game. Now, as we saw at DreamHack, Counterlogic Gaming Europe versus Moscow 5 in that group stage, an hour-long game where CLG was down in gold, but Anivia let them hold on and hold on and hold on and reach that late game. This is the kind of situation that CLG North America, CLG Prime, wants to replicate here. The Baron's going to go down. A great job by Dignitas. CLG knows they couldn't even contest that. They didn't even try to get out of their base. They knew that gold and that buff was going to them. So here's the do-or-die moment. Can Dignitas shove on through, or will CLG hold?
Yeah, this is going to be really big for CLG. They're going to need to hold this. The thing is, we haven't really seen CLG in a 5-on-5 composition where they've been able to use that composition to true form. Here we see Crumbs almost going down. Hemoplague may drop him. He does not have Guardian Angel up, and he stays alive. Kog'Maw missing the artillery, and it looks like they are going to be able to back off from this one without losing anyone. And as we can see, CLG with that Anivia, with their team composition in full effect. We haven't even really seen Hotshot using Stand United too much. So these fights, Dignitas are coming in so quickly, CLG can't get their composition to form the synergy they need. But right there, CLG seem to turn it. If they can get a fight like that again and start picking off Dignitas one by one, they can definitely start to turn the tide of this match.
Yep, there was a fight against the Baron buff. Chowster did not even use his own ultimate, and they were able to just crush down the honestly tankiest member of that Dignitas lineup. Imagine if someone else had gotten caught there. That was a death for sure. So you can see right here that CLG has the makeup that it takes to turn these fights around, but if they get caught in the open field, if they don't get that perfect crystallizer, they don't get that perfect Shenton, it's going to be a world of pain. 90% of these fights are going to go in Dignitas' favor, but Counterlogic Gaming are so reserved is a decent word for it, but they're so experienced and knowledgeable, they know how to force that last 10%. Counterlogic Gaming can make those advantageous fights happen, but that is the only thing that's going to keep them in the game. They need to get that one good fight while the Baron buff is on.
So, Freak, we see what's happening. We see CLG can still hold themselves in. Like I said, versus Legion, there were 10 dragons. 7 of those dragons went to Legion. 2 of the Baron buffs have gone to Dignitas, and we can see the defense CLG can still put up. But the gold is 14,000 apart. Here's they initiate. Crumbs goes on. Why the taunt onto Crumbs? That's not going to be able to use for the carries. A great crescendo stopping the Absolute Zero. Crumbs is still the focus. Aurelia finally going down, but the Guardian Angel up for her as well. Beautiful displacement by Gragas' ult, and Big Fat will be taken out of Rebirth. Cutie Pie left alone to deal so much damage, but Toy takes out Chowster's supports, go face to face. And it looks like Cutie Pie will be helping his team here. The kill and the inhibitor. A 1-2 trade so far as Big Fat and Chowster on the ground. Hotshot GG not with too much health, but Kathy in surprise, almost taking down Crumbs, leaving with 100 HP as they focus on the bottom inhibitor.
Dignitas looking to clean up this base right now. They're a bit low on health, but they have minion waves coming in soon. They might go for the turrets right now. Patoy's going to take some damage. They've got 30 seconds without anyone else from CLG respawning. So it is a 4-on-2. Can they do enough damage? One turret goes down. Hotshot taking a bunch of bursts. They're going to move in for the stun on Boy. Look at that burst damage. Skara is godlike. The Nexus is open. Dignitas going to take game 1 of the semifinals against CLG.
Freak, an amazing matchup. 2-1 for 30 minutes into the game. After that, it was like a 10-minute bolster for both teams, ending up 15-6.